Hey guys, it's Mike Turner back again with another tutorial video for Enlighten DMX software. As promised, today we're going to talk about using moving head intelligent lights and how to control them individually as also as a group. So let's go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do is go ahead and patch some. Actually, I forgot, we've already got some moving heads already in. In this particular case, we're using the Chave Intimidator Spot 350. So if I want to control them, again, as always, I click Clear All just to start from a clean slate. I'm going to highlight both Intimidators, and then I'm going to go to Faders so that you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to initialize. And what you'll see, my pan and tilt are pointing straight down or straight up, depending on what orientation you have the fixture. You'll see that my gobo is open. You'll see that my dimmer is at 255 and the shutter is open. So if I had the lights hooked up for real, you would see them pointing straight down or straight up with white. So anyhow, here's where this gets a little bit more interesting. Again, you've probably heard me talk about these tabs up here and why I love them. Again, this is basically an electronic layout of what your faders would look like if you were using an analog board. I prefer to use these tabs up here because they help isolate the various fixtures, the various features of the fixture. So for instance, we'll start with color. When Winston designed this software and when he creates the profiles, he generally puts in all the color attributes. So there's no question here about the different colors here on the gobo wheel. So for instance, I'm not trying to click on a color that's not available, so that's always great. You'll notice here if I click gobo, you'll see some various gobo options here that include the actual picture. Shutter, you'll see some various strobing effects, random strobe, things like that. Again, these are all parameters built within the light, but you don't have to hunt around and figure out what DMX value to enter to figure this out. Another one that's kind of nice, this particular fixture actually has focus. So under the beam category, you'll see that I've got the focus, the prism, things of that nature. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Usually I like to operate within the joystick attribute here. So right now, again, since my fixtures are centered, they're pointing straight down. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can control these. If you want to move, again, I've got two fixtures selected right now, so when I go up, they both go up. When I go down, they both go down, left, right, and so on. In fact, I'll go ahead and open up the 3D visualizer so you can get an idea of what this looks like a little bit. So again, you'll see that they're moving, so on and so forth. Another way that you could do it, you could just put this little crosshair thing anywhere on here and the fixtures will go to it. That's one thing that you could do. And so for instance, if I wanted it to go over here and start there, and then I can hit record, and then maybe I want to go down here, hit record, then over here, record, and then over here, record, playback. You'll see they're doing a real nice smooth layout of what's happening. Now you'll notice they're moving very smoothly because down here the fade scenes has been selected. So you'll see that that was a 4-step scene and they're fading. If I deselect that, you'll see the kind of stop and go, connect the dot actual steps. So again, I'll fade, and again I can control the speed of how fast it does that here, or I can make it go super fast. Now one thing to keep in mind, this system doesn't have a way of knowing how fast the motors are on your moving head, so although I might be telling it to go this fast, the actual motors on the fixture may not go that fast. So just keep that sort of stuff in mind. I'm going to go ahead and stop this. That way, we're not really messing around with that. Another thing that I love doing is a lot of times with moving headlights, unless you're doing a very intricate, detailed aiming situation, usually you just want the lights to move in a pattern. And you can control those attributes of pattern. So again, I'm just going to initialize. So you see they're pointing straight down. Now, over here, you'll see a section that says MFX. What that means is motion effects. if you click on it, you'll see several different options here of what you could do. Again, I'm going to go ahead and minimize this so that you can see them all. These are just patterns that are built within the system that are kind of common that you might use in a real life scenario. So for instance, I'll bring back up the visualizer again, and I will select a circle. And so what's happening is they're creating a circle, and I'll go back to joystick so we can kind of see what's happening here. I'll speed this up a little bit. Now, please note this section here. This is going to be kind of important. They're saying that in order to create this circle, there are 20 steps that are pre-programmed in. And again, they're fading, so that's why you see it just moving real smooth. So this is the total steps. This is a step shift and a fixture offset. Very, very similar to the RGB effects, where we went from all fixtures just changing colors in unison to creating a wave where it takes the particular phase and offsets it one per fixture, or however many you want to offset. So please take note what happens here and over here when we start to offset the steps. So what this essentially does is it can kind of play around with the lights. Now another little trick here, generally as a rule, if your total steps is double the amount of step shifts that you're doing, so for instance 20 and 10 here, usually what's happening is they're kind of working almost exactly in unison. So that's kind of neat. So I'll go ahead and put this back. I think it was at 2. If I put it back to 0, they will work exactly alike. So I'll leave it at 2. Another very, very, very nice feature for this. So right now, again, pretend this was on our stage. This being the floor, this being the ceiling, sides, and so on and so forth. So maybe they're spending way too much time on the ceiling, and that's not what you want. Well, what we can do is adjust these here, and adjust that here. So we're actually changing the actual size of the circle, right? Another thing that we can do, if I right click anywhere in this area, it actually will adjust the axis of where this this circle is going. So for instance, if I put it over here, you'll see I have adjusted the axis. Over here, sorry, click there, so on and so forth. So that's how we control them from here. Again, obviously, if I want to go to color, I can change their color, so on and so forth. If this were a scene that I liked, in fact, I'm actually going to go to a figure 8, something quite common. So I will go ahead and save this as a show. And I'm going to call this blue figure 8. Alright guys, so now we know how to control our moving heads. There's a couple other things that you can do that I'll go into more detail on with future videos, but essentially I wanted you to have an idea of how to control them and the basic maneuverability that is found within Enlighten software. So anyhow guys, I will talk to you soon. Hope you're having a good day.